Dobar dan, ovo je emisija Diplomata, koju Euronews Srbija realizuje u saradnji sa magazinom Diplomacy and Commerce. Nakon diplomatskih vesti imat ćete priliku da pogledate intervju sa ambasadorom Ukrajine u Srbiji, Volodimirom Tolkačem. Kao i svake nedelje na kraju emisije sledi pregled diplomatskih dešavanja u Beogradu. A sada prelazimo na diplomatske vesti. Generalni sekretar Ministarstva spoljnih poslova Dušan Kozarev sastao se u proteklih 10 dana sa ambasadorima većeg broja zemalja koji su akreditovani u Beogradu. Kozarev je imao sastanke sa ambasadorima Federativne Republike Brazil, Kraljevine Maroko, Japana, Republike Tunis, Kraljevine Holandije kao i Švajcarske. Ministar spoljnih poslova Srbije Marko Đurić sastao se sa saveznom ministarkom za evropske i spoljne poslove Republike Austrije Beate Meinl-Rasinger i poručio da je susret značajan impuls za saradnju između Srbije i Austrije. Prema Đurićevim rečima, Austrija je treći najveći investitor u našoj zemlji. Austrijske kompanije zapošljavaju hiljade ljudi na ovom prostoru, donoseći ne samo nove prilike za građane, već i nove tehnologije i dodatnu povezanost sa evropskom ekonomijom. Drugi po redu Jerevan dijalog, međunarodna konferencija u organizaciji vlade Jermenije, održat će se 26. i 27. maja u glavnom gradu te države. Ove godine forum će se dublje fokusirati na globalna pitanja, uključujući intenziviranje geopolitičkih tenzija, rastuću ekonomsku neizvesnost, gubitak biodiverziteta i kao i implikacije veštačke inteligencije na savremeno društvo. Ekipa magazina Diplomacy and Commerce i emisija Diplomata bit će prisutni na samitu i izvestiti o tome šta se u Jerevanu dešavalo. Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Diplomat. My name is Mijat Kontić, and our today's guest is His Excellency Volodimir Tolkač, the ambassador of Ukraine to Serbia. Your Excellency, thank you for deciding to join us today for this interview.
Thank you for your invitation. I'm also glad to see you today.
It's a pleasure to have you. Something that I would like to start this interview with is your diplomatic career. You've served in diverse diplomatic postings, which include North Macedonia, Iraq, Kuwait, and now Serbia. How have all of these different political landscapes in these different countries affected your approach to diplomacy?
If we will begin from about my experience in diplomacy, I may begin from OSCE mission in Georgia. I began my career as a peacekeeper in Georgia and Nagorno-Karabakh. And in this case, you see, all my life I more or closer or far, I connected with some conflicts. And in this case, my diplomatic experience gave me this opportunity always to see how people live and how they can keep the peace in the world. In this case, you see North Macedonia in 2001, 2004, first Ohrid agreements, and then Iraq. So all this, I just understand that all diplomats, first of all, need to keep the peace and never dictate, because when we try to dictate something for other countries, in this case, we violate one of the basic norms of our life. It's independence of political independence of this country. So first and very important for us to seek some connection, some cooperation between countries, and not to give somebody food for crisis between our countries, for conflicts in our countries. It's maybe the basement that I try to provide all of my life in all my posts where I worked before, as well as here in Serbia also. It's understandable that we have some different view how to build our country, how to create our international relations, but we need to seek, first of all, contacts and our mutual interests.
Something that's a historical fact that not a lot of our viewers actually know is that Serbian settlers lived in two provinces in Ukraine in the 18th century, which were then named New Serbia and Slavo Serbia. How does this historical connection between the two people affect the modern-day relations between Serbia and Ukraine?
You see, first time when I began to understand that we are more closer, that we always feel that when I can understand our history. It's not only two regions where living Serbians, but the behavior of our people is very near one to another. In this case, I may only remember the Serbian word graničar. Graničar, it's something very closer for Ukrainian Cossack. We are living in some neighbor sides of Osman Empire. In this case, we need to defend our countries. And your graničar and our Cossack, we always do it. In this case, our behavior and our nation is very close one to another. We have some very bright and interesting, you mentioned it, stories when Serbians lived in Ukraine in the 17th century. It's Slavana Serbia. Unfortunately, now it's totally destroyed by Russia. The center, administrative center of Slavana Serbia, it's Bakhmut. Second, in Mirgorod, it's near the Nova Serbia, also situated in Ukraine. Our behavior, as I told, our culture and climate of our countries is very near one to another. It gave us this opportunity. If we speak about history, I may say that we have also some black side of this story. For example, Serbian national, the general Tekilija destroyed Ukrainian Zaporozhye siege, its headquarters of Ukrainian Cossack. But in the light side of history, I may also mention that the last Ukrainian Cossack settlement, so named Banatska Sich, was in the places where settled also Serbian, near the Banat here in Serbia. So really we are very close one to another. Sometimes we speak about empire, not about territory, not about people, but empire. In this case, Russians try today to play with this word. Russian Empire, we are brothers, Russia, and so on. So in this case, it's we need also to do something in this history. We need to first of all, to determine our role in the history and your role and our connection. We tried to organize some conference last year. Maybe we will do it this year if we will have an opportunity to do it. But really, I just would like to say that our history is very near and we have very close ties between us.
Now, that was about history, but I would also like to talk about the present. Ukraine is on a path to EU membership, as well as Serbia is still negotiating its accession process to the EU. Do these countries have some shared experiences, Serbia and Ukraine, in their accession to the EU? And how can these shared experiences encourage cooperation between the two countries on this topic?
So what I can tell you, it's one of the more important and one of our mutual interest in the future. In this case, our strategic aid to be the member of the European Union give us an opportunity to work together and work very closely. For example, yesterday I had a meeting with your Minister of Euro Integration, Mr. Starovic, and we just discussed some future steps in this way. For example, to sign a memorandum for cooperation. You have very huge experience in this way. You have huge experience in negotiation with European Union. We don't have it, but all our new history there is a history how to struggle in this way. So intention of Ukrainian people to be the part of Europe is very strong. And in this case, to join these efforts from your side, your experience, and our struggle for this, it's I think they will give impetus not only for Ukraine but also for Serbia, and not only for Serbia but for Ukraine. So it's very good field for our future work.
And could you tell us how has the war in Ukraine influenced the urgency of Ukraine to join the EU and even more deeply integrate itself with European institutions?
I may begin to ask you a question in a little bit other manner. You see, all this war began because Ukraine, first of all, Ukrainian students try to turn back to European course, and after it's named Maidan in here, well known as a Maidan or color revolution, but it's not something. It's a little bit something other. Yeah. First of all, our students began this process because former Ukrainian President Yanukovych tried to turn this course to Russia, not to European Union, and he broke all his his obligation that he gave when he elected by president. After this, when Russia Kremlin group or junta, how you would like to know, understood that Ukraine wouldn't turn this course from Europe to Russia, they began this war. They began this war in aggression in Crimea, then in the east of Donbass. We tried to negotiate it, but unfortunately, in 2022, Russia began this full-scale aggression in Ukraine. But it's only, but in our public opinion, in Ukrainian people, this intention to integrate to Europe only strengthened during these 10 years, more than 10 years. Anyway, we think that we will do this work. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to do in this situation with Russian aggression of our and occupation of our territory, but we work hard in this way, and I think that it would be good example for us and our friends who also would like to, who was also candidate to European Union and try to pass this way.
Now, something that Serbia is known for lately, at least, is remaining neutral in global conflicts. And this could have best been seen in the recent example of the Serbia's change of vote on the General Assembly of the United Nations, where the vote from yes was changed to sustained regarding the resolution about Ukraine and the defense of its territorial integrity. How do you view the approach of the Serbian government towards the Ukraine war?
We highly appreciate for Serbia for your efforts in humanitarian sphere. It's understandable and clear for us. Other way that Serbia has their own in external policy and try to seek some kind of balance between sides. It's, I mean, from Russia, China, and for West countries. I understand that all this thing is very difficult to do, and but I would like to mention that we need to be more clear in international organization, because first of all voting in this organization gave some opportunity to aggressor or to us to give some to give and to provide some overview for all other countries. For example, Russia used in Ukraine the chemical weapons more than 4,000 times. But in the same situation, Russia would like to return back to Executive Council of the Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. The same situation in all other countries and in all other international organizations. And we would like to isolate Russia, not to give them an opportunity as this aggressor to be in this organization. Maybe if they would be member of this organization, not to influence for the activities of this organization. And in this case, we kindly ask, particularly Serbia, to give us this support. Not to be, because I think it's very clear example who violate the rules and use chemical weapons, they cannot be the manager of this organization. The same situation in the UN and in other. In this case, Council of Europe reject Russia to be the member of this humanitarian and rule of law organization, because Russia is a huge violator. The same situation I would be glad to see in other. So if Serbia will change their view, we will be highly appreciated for this.
Now, in the past, you've commented about Russian influence in Serbian media being very present. And how do you counter this misinformation that's been present about the war in Ukraine in the Serbian public discourse?
What I can tell you, it's a historical question. I don't want to give you some very wide observation and discuss the issue why Russia is so present in your mass media, but today it's reality. And today, I think for all of us, it's very important to understand where is freedom of mass media began, where is it finished and began the propaganda. For example, in Ukraine, we also lost a lot because we, according to the principle of human rights principles, we gave the freedom for Russian mass media first of all, in the East and South region. But Russia used this opportunity and used the common human rights for propaganda. I mean that, first of all, we need to do a lot for counter-propaganda. We need to give the citizen of Serbia as well as the citizen of Ukraine some view and to give them an opportunity to choose what they want to see and how they want to do. But we can do it only, frankly speaking, in a peace situation. When peace will be settled in Ukraine, we can do it. The same situation in Serbia. If you will give an opportunity, thanks, you give it today to me to express my view for all these things. I think it would be better because your people would like to know, your Serbian citizen would like to know all position, all view about this.
Absolutely. Now, something that's been a big global topic is the approach of the newly appointed Trump administration and their approach to Ukraine and the war that's been happening. In the recent days, actually, the US has signed a deal with Kiev to share some of the profits of the mineral sales of Ukraine in return for incentive for US to invest in Ukraine's defense. How do you view this approach of the US administration, and does it signal a shift in their approach, or is this something to be expected?
So all of us, all our governments, all our in democratic countries, first of all, they try to do some benefits for their society, for their nations. I don't want to say something negative about approach of Trump, new Trump team in the White House, but for us in this situation with Russian aggression in Ukraine, it's very sensitive because all exchanges of view and all changes of external policy, first of all in United States, it's blood and lives of our soldiers. Second, but what can I tell you about this resources agreement, as you told? We live in some new situation, a situation with when globalization came to their huge level. Today, when we speak about all countries involved to this process of how to live and how to take part in the common productions in this world. Sometimes I ask, in this case, sometimes I ask you myself. For example, in Mariupol, if Azovstal, the huge steel factory, would be under the management or it would be some common property with United States, German or China. In this situation, Russia decided to do this aggression or no. The same situation with some our factories in Dnipro, in Zaporizhia, and others. So I think we need to have more strong obligation from our partners, but we need to involve with our industry and our resources to the world system, for the world system. And in this case, I'm not, I cannot give, I didn't see all details of this memorandum, of this agreement about resources, but I think that it also defends the interest of my people.
Ukraine has been strengthening its economic ties with the EU despite the ongoing war. How do you see opportunities for Serbia and Ukraine to collaborate on trade, if not now, then later, in investment and particularly in sectors like energy and technology?
So, really, we need to do something. In this case, first of all, we need to organize some kind of very good regime for our trade. It's not secret that Ukraine and Serbia compete one to another in agriculture sphere, and in this case we need to negotiate, and we need to create some regime that will give an opportunity for our exporter as well as the exporters from Serbia to Ukraine to give the free regime how to do it. In this case, we need to organize free trade zone, and we need to sign free trade zone agreement with very smart regime for our agriculture and other sphere. But technology that we can give to Serbia as well as what Serbia can give to Ukraine, it's one of the sphere what we need to do at this moment, not to stay and to delay these activities for other side. This same situation in energy. Unfortunately, today our huge machinery who produced energy turbines and something else under the bombing in Kharkiv and other towns. But really, in this case, we have an opportunity to export not only products, but also technology of this factory to other sites. We need to do it. We organized a business forum last year, but we need to do it more often. In this case, we try to speed our relations and push our representative of chambers of commerce to do it more active.
Now, during 2023, the former Prime Minister of Serbia, Ana Brnabić, said that there were actually over 40,000 of displaced Ukrainian refugees living in Serbia. How does the Ukrainian embassy approach their integration, and what mechanisms do they have in place to integrate them into the Serbian society?
That's one of very sensitive issue for us, because we, first of all, and I also repeated, we always remember about your support for our people. In this case, I remember my first visit with your president, Mr. Alexander Vučić, to Vranje, where you settle our refugees. Really, we highly appreciate, because the condition of Vranje center is very good, one of the best in the region, and they gave an opportunity to live there for our citizens. Unfortunately, we need to give them something possibility to work, because to live always without work may only some very old people or women who has children, but all other people need to work. And in this case, we appreciate, for example, for IKEA, who gave an opportunity for our citizens to take part in concourse and then to work in IKEA near the Belgrade. Some of our citizens settled in Vojvodina and also work there, but really it's a problem for us, as well as you mentioned that a lot of our citizens, I mean, Ana Brnabić mentioned 43,000. Today in Serbia we have only 1,500.
So it has decreased a lot.
Increased, unfortunately, and all other citizens enter to Serbia. It's quite right. I fully agree with Ana Brnabić. But after that, they seek some other places in Montenegro, Albania.
So Serbia is just transitional for them.
Transition if you come and during one day exit.
Yeah.
Some of them stay here a few months, some of them stay here 1 week, 1 year and more. So I cannot say that it's pure transition, but all of us try to see what they want, how they want to live.
And are there any personal stories from the Ukrainian refugee community in Serbia that have stood out to you?
I may demonstrate you a few photos, just maybe after our interview. I was shocked with one story with one family from Kharkiv. They came here to Vranje center in the car, not very, it's ordinary car for Ukraine, Daewoo. And this car was totally destroyed by Russian bullets. Without windows, with a lot of this aperture from bullets and so on. For me, I was shocked when I saw that Russian so-named soldiers tried to to hit to the fuel bank. It's family, 2 women, mother, daughter, and grandson of the mother. They staying there near 1 year. Now they went to Canada. But for me, I was shocked how the 2 women with 1 child can pass this territory and in destroyed car.
Yeah.
I also see some of our citizens who lived in Vranja 1 year and more, but really they always ask me, how can we work? Where can we work? Now, because we cannot sit there without any job and something else. Now they organized some company in Novi Sad and tried to produce some clothes and sell these clothes in Belgrade. I also very it's very positive for me because I see that they don't stop and they try to live. But for us, it would be very important to return them back to Ukraine, because after war we need also to do a lot in our country. There are a lot of cities now destroyed totally. I mentioned in the beginning Bakhmut. Now this town disappeared. Mariupol and a lot of others town particularly or totally destroyed. So we need hands, and in this case I use this opportunity and may invite your companies, construct companies and others to take part in rebuilding Ukraine after the war.
Now, for the last question, I would like to ask you, what message would you like the Serbian people to take away from Ukraine's struggle and fight for preservation?
First of all, try to don't use only one channel of information, because when we have had about struggle between East and West, and don't forget that it's struggle not East for West. We try to defend our country. All other is propaganda. Second, don't listen and try to defend some principles that not clear for us. For example, I don't see some differences between fascist Aryan nation and so-named Russian peace. Aryan nation is something that's created by Hitler, who gave some more rights for one nation, as well as today some of Russian ideologists try to give more rights for Russians, say that we try to build Russian peace. It's not Russian peace, it's something else. If 1 child died in this struggle, it means that all this ideology don't have any price. It's zero. So be careful. First of all, we need to struggle for our families and for live for all of us in the world.
Your Excellency, thank you once again for joining us for this interview. As for our dear viewers, you watched another episode of The Diplomat. Our guest today was His Excellency Volodimir Tolkač, the ambassador of Ukraine to Serbia. My name is Mijat Kontić, and I'll see you in another episode of The Diplomat.
Srbiju i Egipat povezuje višedecenijska plodna saradnja i tradicionalno dobri odnosi. Mostovi koji se grade između ove dve zemlje vraćaju veru u budućnost u kojoj vladaju ljubav, mir, tolerancija i pravda. To je bila poruka patrijarha Koptske crkve Tavadrosa II prilikom njegove prve posete Beogradu. Poglavar jedne od najstarijih hrišćanskih crkava na svetu podsjetio je na to da je u svetlu globalnih izazova postalo imperativ da svetski lideri usvoje jasne vizije razvoja društva i postizanja bolje budućnosti čovečanstva.
Svetu je potrebno da budemo fleksibilni i kreativni u formiranju jakih partnerstava koja kombinuju stručnost i znanje. Studije pokazuju da su različite iskustva najbrži način da se iskoriste ljudski talenti i resursi, a organizovanje ovih alata i njihovo korišćenje kako bi služili našem svetu i čovečanstvu je naš zajednički cilj.
Predavanje Mostovi ljubavi na kome je patrijarh govorio organizovano je u saradnji Egipatske ambasade u Beogradu i Uprave za saradnju sa crkvama i verskim zajednicama. Direktor Uprave za saradnju sa crkvama i verskim zajednicama Vladimir Roganović u pozdravnom govoru citirao je Nobelovca Ivu Andrića, koji je pisao da su mostovi svačiji prema svakome jednaki, korisni, podignuti uvek smisleno, na mestu na kom se ukršta najveći deo ljudskih potreba, istrajniji od drugih građevina i ne služe ničemu što je tajno ili zlo.
Mostovi su privilegovana mesta susreta dobronamernih teologa i metafizičara, pesnika i sveštenika u širokom misaonom i vremenskom rasponu. Želimo i ovom prilikom da istaknemo da Republika Srbija ostaje trajno posvećena negovanju, afirmaciji i unapređivanju međuverskog dijaloga na unutrašnjem, regionalnom i međunarodnom nivou kao strateških okvira i pretpostavki za vitalno važnu reafirmaciju i primenu univerzalnih etničkih i moralnih načela u svetu.
Predavanju pape Aleksandrijskog i patrijarha stolice Svetog Marka u Palati Srbija prisustvovali su članovi Vlade Republike Srbije, predstavnici crkava i tradicionalnih verskih zajednica i predstavnici diplomatskog kora u Srbiji. Svetski dan portugalskog, najrasprostranjenijeg jezika na južnoj hemisferi i jednog od najviše korišćenih jezika na internetu, obeležen je u kulturnom centru Grad u prisustvu predstavnika ambasada i gostiju koji uče, govore i vole portugalski jezik, kulturu, poeziju, muziku i hranu.
Zahvaljujući međusobnoj saradnji imamo ovde u Beogradu predstavnike zemlje iz koje je portugalski jezik potekao, zatim zemlje iz koje ima najviše govornika portugalskog jezika, to je Brazil, i predstavnike iz Angole, afričke zemlje za koju se predviđa da će imati najviše govornika portugalskog u budućnosti.
Širom sveta Svetski dan portugalskog jezika obeležava se na sličan način kroz muzičko-scenske programe u atmosferi srdačnih susreta, ali i najava novih ideja i misija onih koji slave njegovu lepotu i bogatstvo.
Moja misija u Srbiji je privedena kraju i uskoro preuzimam novu odgovornost u Indiji, u Mumbaju, koju prihvatam sa velikim entuzijazmom. Verovatno znate da moja supruga gaji veliku naklonost prema Indiji, uprkos tome što smo se ovde odlično prilagodili i što nam je bilo izuzetno zadovoljstvo da provedemo godine u divnom Beogradu. Radujemo se novoj destinaciji, zanimljivo je da su portugalski moreplovci na svom putu prošli kroz Indiju, tačnije Govu. Tako i odlazimo iz jedne zemlje u drugu, a da pritom naš jezik ne iščezava.
Želeo bih da iskoristim ovu priliku da pokrenem apel za institucionalizaciju jezgra CPLP-a u Srbiji kao instrumenta za produbljivanje političke i diplomatske koordinacije, pored podsticanja ekonomske, društvene, kulturne, pravne i tehničko-naučne saradnje između naših zemalja i naroda.
Portugalski govori više od 260 miliona ljudi širom sveta, a u 9 zemalja je službeni jezik. Razvija se sa mnoštvom dijalekata, a Svetski dan portugalskog jezika ustanovljen je 2009. od strane UNESCO-a. Izložba Zdravko Pečar, prvi jugoslovenski reporter Alžirske revolucije, otvorena je u Narodnoj skupštini Demokratske narodne republike Alžir, a u organizaciji Muzeja afričke umetnosti iz Beograda. U fokusu postavke su život i delo Zdravka Pečara, jugoslovenskog novinara, istoričara, diplomate, revolucionara i osnivača Muzeja afričke umetnosti. Posetioci imaju priliku da kroz fotografije i ličnu biblioteku Zdravka Pečara, štampane zapise i arhivski materijal upoznaju njegovu zanimljivu ličnost, značajan doprinos kulturnim i političkim vezama između Jugoslavije i afričkih zemalja, kao i angažman u borbi protiv kolonizacije.